guys, it's Christina from Streamline Canine, and today I'm going to do a quick video on how to operate your e-collar. So I'm going to talk about all the functions, the settings, how to turn it off and on, just answering some of those questions. So, all right, here is the collar and here is the remote. Now, if you're training with me, your collar is going to be black. This is just my personal one, and you're going to have either a yellow skin like this or a black skin on your remote. So let's start off with turning on your e-collar. So this is off right now. When I touch, there's a little dot right here. Now I've spray painted this backing, so you're gonna normally see a little red dot where this indentation is. So there's a red dot as well here on the collar. If I can get it to focus, there's the red dot right there. So you tap them together, or you touch them together for 1 second. Okay, so now this is on. So if you wait every few seconds, it's going to flash green. There you go. And if I click any of these buttons, right, this is gonna turn red. And with the rumble, the black T, you can also just rumble it and you'll hear when it's on, okay? So turning it off, I'm gonna do the same thing, just gonna touch it, and now it's off. And now it's on, and now it's off. Okay, so this is still on. You have to turn them off and on both individually. So to turn off and on your e-collar, there is a L on the back. It's an L and it says on off. So if you click it really fast, a really quick click, it'll turn a light on your e-collar. It's gonna go to a flashing light. If I click it again, solid light, click it again, it'll turn it off. But if you do a long 3-second hold, 1, 2, 3, it's gonna turn off your collar. Oops, 1, 2, 3. Okay. There, it's gonna turn off the collar, turn off the remote. And if I do it again, 1, 2, 3, it turned on my remote, because now we're on. Let me explain the buttons on here. So here's the collar. It is on level 15. I know it's backwards, but bear with me. So 15 is the number on the screen, okay? So on the side, here are your buttons, and this is how you're going to deliver stim, okay? So the black S up here is the number on the screen, is the level right there. And that level, we can change up and down with our dial. It's kind of hard to see because it's a bright light, but this is going up and down. So we are in control of what level our dog is probably going to need. So if we're in the house, that's probably a lower number, and if you're outside with higher distractions, your number is going to have to be higher, right? It's relative to the scenario. So the black S, again, is the number that you set on the screen. So we're on an 8. The red button is a boost, and I set the boost while your dog is in training. Most dogs I set to a 20 because it's a fast way to, if your dog starts running after a squirrel, it's a quick way to jump to higher levels without having to fumble around on the e-collar, even though once you get good, you'll be really quick with changing levels. But nonetheless, it's a fast way to just nick them higher. So if I press this, my personal e-collar is not set to 20, I think it's set to 15. So I'm gonna press the boost and you'll see it went from 10 to 25. And it'll go, I have it on continuous mode. So there's a little C on the screen. It's hard to see, but that means these buttons will go as long as I hold them. Versus if you have it set to momentary, there will be an M, and you could hold it, but it would just nick them like one time. So I like the continuous mode because I like to be in control of how long I can deliver this stim based on the situation. The other button here is the T, and it's a vibrate on the collar. So if I turn it on, again, you'll hear it. Okay, so rumble is something that I use perhaps to interrupt a harmless kind of behavior. It's not to actually create a punishment or a consequence. It's just to interrupt, okay, maybe he's licking his paws, or maybe he just picked up something I don't want him to pick up. So I'll just rumble the collar, and usually they're like, it gets their attention. But I don't recommend training on rumble because you can't actually change the intensity if you need it to. So it's just a one level, you get one rumble, a couple rumbles, and that's all you get. So, okay. And the next thing I'm gonna talk about is contact points. So depending on how long of hair that your dog has, they're gonna have different contact points. So for me, these 3/4 inch steel contact points are really good. For my dog, your dog may have ultra wings, where they're kind of these wiry, these wings that come out and they get through the hair better. Or if you have a very short haired dog, they may just have plastic and then at the end might be metal. So your tips might look different. So don't be alarmed if it doesn't look exactly like this. I just use whatever is the best contact points for your dog. To charge the collars, so the collars go on first thing in the morning, you turn them on, you keep it on your dog. I like to keep it on all day. It's like a watch. So the dog doesn't think, oh, I did something bad, and then you slapped on the e-collar and then they're aware, okay, now I have an e-collar on. So we put it on like a watch every day, and after a long time of maintaining good behavior, it isn't dependent on the collar anymore. But we can't expect that in like 5 months, right? Because usually these dogs have a whole history of behaving a certain way. So if we are too quick to jump the gun, then we're going to find ourselves making a collar smart dog a lot faster. So put it on like a watch, put it on first thing in the morning, and let them wear it throughout the day. It's there if you need it, right? So we don't have to slap the collar on when they were bad, right? And every few hours, you just move it to a different part of the neck so it doesn't cause any irritation. So if you get irritation or you're getting sores, it's not because of the electrical stimulation. It is because it's sitting on the same part of the skin. Because by nature, these contact points must touch the skin, so it has to be snug. Or else we're gonna be like on 80 and be like, my dog doesn't feel anything. And then all of a sudden, maybe they tilt their head just right, and then bam, they got an 80 when they really didn't need one, or they didn't deserve to have a correction on an 80. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't deserving of that situation. So we want to make sure that our e-collars are snug so that we are delivering accurate levels of stimulation to correct them as minimally as possible, right? So when you put this on, make sure it's snug. Make sure that you're moving it around every like 4 hours. And if you are gone for like a very long period of time, then that's a situation where I would say, okay, you know, you can leave the collar off, or you can just loosen it up so that your dog still gets the schedule of wearing their e-collar each day, but it's not snug enough where it's going to cause irritations because you are not there to rotate it. Okay. And lastly, the e-collar is waterproof. It's good for up to a ½ mile away. It does go through some walls. So if you are watching your dog, maybe he's fence fighting outside, you can correct them probably from inside your house. Not all the time. Sometimes there's some walls it won't go through, but a lot of the times it works. Anyway, so the battery lasts for about probably 9 to 10 hours. And at night I charge it. So here's the charger. So it is forked and then it goes into the wall. So one side is gonna go, one side will go into this. So there's the charger. You pull the little rubber stopper out. And then you pull the rubber stopper out of the other one. And that is how you charge it. And when you plug it in, it's gonna light up red. And when it's done charging, it'll light up green. And something else I really want to challenge you guys to learn to do is to have your third finger on the black S. And these two fingers are for scrolling, okay? Now, I know it's more intuitive for a lot of people to have their index on there, but what happens is when, say you need to do, say a 6 wasn't enough, you want to try a level 8, right? If you are holding it like this, you don't have to readjust to turn it up, okay, and then to click it. That's a lot of time wasted where your dog could be, you could quickly turn it higher. So say, okay, I'll bring it back down to 6. So say I'm on a 6 and I'm calling my dog and they don't feel it and they don't care. Okay, I want to go to an 8. Oh, I went too high. That's a lot faster than having to readjust. Right, now I'm at 14, I want to go to maybe a 20 or 21. So I'm not having to readjust, right? And you can even do a click and or dial up to the level that you need if they're like taking off. And you can watch them start to feel the e-collar and then they're like, ooh, just kidding, I'm coming back. So that's a skill I teach all of my clients to do. It will pay off in the long run. It's a little harder in the beginning, but I don't even know if it's harder in the beginning because doing this and then having to readjust is just, I think that's way more difficult. So get used to doing that. And here's a better view of, you can see the 1D means that the levels are unlocked. So I'm scrolling up, I'm scrolling down, right? If I push in for 1 second, then the 1D is solid and it means it's locked, right? Now I can unlock it. Okay. Now this thing, it does scroll really quick, right? It doesn't take me long to get to a high. And it's very rare you'd have to stim your dog on a high. Unless you had some working canine you needed to out and they just wouldn't. So, just be careful if it's been jumbling around. Just check the levels on your e-collar. Make sure it didn't get to like an absurdly high level while it was jumbling around in your pocket. And then you can get a better view. There's the continuous, right? So it'll go as long as I hold it. Or if I want to do a series of tapping, I can do that. Or if I want to do a solid hold, I can do that. If it was on momentary, it wouldn't allow me to do this long solid hold. So again, if it gets set to momentary and you want to take it back to continuous, the small MC button, hold the small MC button. So I'm going to hold it down. Oops. Now it's MC. If I keep holding go again, it goes M. If I hold it again, it'll go to MC. Oops. Sorry, it's kind of hard to push it in. Okay. I always keep it on C. That's just the best way to do it. So again, if I boost it, takes me from 7 to a 22. It's adding 15 levels. So I've already preset all of my clients' boosts. And then there's the T, there's the rumble. So this is how it should look when you're holding it in your right hand. So that is the basics to how to operate your mini Educator e-collar. If you have any issues with it, if you find it's not working, your remote, maybe the stim isn't delivering right, that does occasionally happen. And you can call the manufacturer and they will send you a brand new one. They're very, very good. They'll basically guarantee and warranty your device for up to 2 years. So don't be afraid to call them if anything goes wrong. And most of all, be patient with yourselves when you're learning how to use your e-collar. I understand it can be overwhelming and seem like it's scary and it's a lot, but I promise if you keep practicing with it, and you can always start on levels lower and work your way up, right? So we can always start lower than we think we need, and we can be watching the dog and they'll tell us if they need more or less, right? So just stick with it. It's a learning curve. I understand that it can be very overwhelming for people to learn how to operate this gadget, right? But it's a great tool. So stick with it and reach out to me if you have questions. And thank you so much for watching this video and choosing Streamline Canine. Thanks for watching.